Hello, my name is Mary Kay Landon with Decision Point I Ching Consultation. Today I'm going to talk about something practical, tips for using the I Ching to help inform your job search. For those who don't know, the I Ching is an ancient Chinese method of divination that was developed gradually starting 3,000 years ago by shamans, philosophers, politicians. Chinese emperors used it to make political decisions about going to war as well as economic decisions about planting crops. Individuals used it for relationships, business matters, and other community matters. Since then, it has been used by millions of people, and these interactions inform the oracle that we know today. Which brings me to the moment. I was recently laid off my day job and have been looking for the last few weeks for a new job. I was recently asked to interview for something that was very exciting, something that was competitive, and I thought I had no chance. So that's kind of exciting. And so as my approach toward the interview could have a direct impact on my future, this is just the sort of subject to bring to the I Ching. In terms of answering direct questions, the I Ching can be so much more accurate than tarot, runes, angel cards, or psychic readings because it's a structured, established system with many more possible responses, over 4,000 actually. But even though this is an ancient Chinese system, there are times when it will reach across the ages and engage the modern querent directly and literally. Very uncanny that way. The I Ching is composed of, or structured into 64 hexagrams that each represent an archetypal situation for humanity. They have evocative titles such as the creative, the receptive, revolution, the cauldron, the well. The querent receives a hexagram by performing 6 random procedures, such as a coin toss. These random procedures can result in 4 possible outcomes. An unbroken stable line, which is called a light or yang line, a broken stable line, which is called a yin line or dark line, an unbroken changing line, which is generally called old yang, which will then change to a yin line, or a broken changing line that is called an old yin line that will change to a yang line. Here's the fully formed hexagram, one of 64 possible combinations. And here is the same hexagram, but with a couple of change lines that then, as you can see, change into their opposite type of line, which will then form a new hexagram. There are many videos available on how to form a hexagram, but I'll briefly describe it using coins, a universal and easily accessible method. So you form a hexagram by performing the random operation of casting the coins, like that. This result is 2 heads and a tail, or a light line, also known as a yang line. If the pennies had fallen like that, 2 tails and a head, it would have been a yin line. If they had fallen with 3 tails, that would have been, they call old yang, changing to yin, or a dark line. And conversely, if they had fallen as all heads, it would have been an old yin line changing to yang. This is the system that I use and many people use. Some people do it in reverse, giving the tails a more of the light quality. The important thing is to be consistent. So when you're divining with the I Ching, you perform this operation of tossing the coins in a controlled manner 6 times, and recording the result. Like, as an example, this. And then if you have a change line, that forms a new hex, let's say 2 change lines, that gives you a different hexagram, called sort of a destination hexagram. which gives more depth to your reading. To interpret your reading, you'll need an I Ching book that will tell you which hexagram you drew and offer some interpretation. I will explore this further in my next video, but I wanted to give you the mechanics here so that you can follow along when I do a live reading on an important question to me right now, which is how to conduct myself during this upcoming job interview. You should only address the I Ching on matters of importance. I don't want to sound too spooky here, but often it seems that behind the I Ching there is an ancient sage who knows the difference between an important question and a trivial one. And in response to a trivial or test question, will often deliver nonsense or even an insult. And because the I Ching is so rich with potential replies, as I said, over 4,000, you don't want to be asking it yes or no questions. Instead, I prefer to do, what is the wisdom of doing X? Or what is my wisest approach to an upcoming event? Or what is the status of my relationship with a particular person? Given that I'm currently unemployed, a natural question might be, well, what do I do about my livelihood? But I find that it's more effective with the I Ching to ask it more pointed question, like, what is the wisdom of seeking a job at XYZ company? Or what is the wisdom of seeking a full-time job? Or what is the wisdom of seeking a part-time job? Or what is the wisdom of seeking this type of job? For this particular question today, I'm going to be very simple and direct. What is my wisest approach to this upcoming interview? Okay, so my question today, the burning question on my mind, is what is my wisest approach to my interview today at this company, a job that I am interested in? So I'm going to show you how we actually do divine in real time. Okay, so I'm going to, and we start from the bottom up. You see I've named the positions here. I prefer lined paper to keep it all straight. I'm going to go ahead and cast the coins. First position, I get what they call an old yin changing to yang. Second position, I get old yang changing to yin. So already I have two change lines. Third position, I get a yang line. Fourth position, I get a yin line. This sample is showing you all the lines today, completely according to the I Ching's wishes, I guess. Fifth line, we get a yang line. And finally, the sixth line, we get a yin line. And the hexagram is complete. You see, though, because we have two change lines, it's creating another hexagram. Because I know these, I know that the first one is well, 48, changing to after completion, number 63. Normally, you would want to consult a text to find those numbers, but once you become familiar with the I Ching, after many years of practicing, or if you're very good at recognizing patterns, you'll be able to figure them out pretty quickly. So, as I stated when I threw the coins, this reading yielded 48, the well, changing to 63 after completion. The well has to do with the well in a village, a resource that the community can use, or one's own inner resources, such as one's unconscious, one's strength, one's intuition, the forces behind the intellect that you can bring up for life, for any situation, and that need to be replenished and shared, and also developed. The first two lines, as you recall, that I received in the reading were moving lines, which changed to their opposites. So the I Ching provides special guidance and additional text for those lines. In both cases, these are not favorable lines. The first one has to do with a muddy well that can't be used, and the second one has to do with a broken bucket that can't bring up water. Fish can swim in the well, but people can't access it. I interpret those as warnings that I may not be able to bring my best self to the fore in this interview, and that I really need to watch that. If I study up on the company, decide what I'm going to say about myself, I can overcome this challenge. But the I Ching is showing me a challenge here that I need to heed. Then the hexagram changes to this other hexagram, the 63 after completion, which on its face is the most well-structured I Ching hexagram in the whole book, because the yang places are in the yang lines are in their places, the yin lines are in their places, proper places. However, the Chinese thought that was too perfect, and that it bode misfortune ultimately, that some kind of disorder would sort of take over the situation. So it can, while it looks like very stable to begin with, it has the potential to change to its opposite, not stable. In the context of this reading, it looks like that if I get my act together and make sure that I bring my resources to the fore, that I will do a good performance and all will seem well, but not to count any chickens before they're hatched, which you certainly wouldn't do in an interview anyway. But in this case, it might seem a little too wrapped up when actually misfortune awaits behind the seeming order. So in another video follow-up, I will let you know how this goes, how I ultimately did on the interview. This company has a very structured process. If I am going to be advanced to the next stage, I will find out soon, within the week, and I will be asked to perform a test to see of my abilities. So I will keep you all posted on that. The I Ching does not get it right 100% of the time, but that's probably owing to many factors, which I will explore in another video. But keep in mind, the weatherman doesn't get it right all the time either. Even though good translations have been available in the West for over 70 years, the I Ching really has not caught on in the way that, say, Feng Shui has. And I think this is owing to the fact that it is perceived as somewhat inaccessible. I think sometimes people feel that they don't get good replies that are meaningful to them. And there's really no good way to dumb it down, even though some people have tried. But I think the patient querent is very much rewarded by responses that are accurate, as well as ones that can lend a different perspective or additional guidance to a situation, to a life path, maybe inform the querent of something that they weren't previously aware of, or giving them other options. After working with the I Ching for more than 40 years, I want to make it my mission to bring its wisdom to more people through videos such as this one, through in-depth personal consultations, and through training that I'm developing. If you're interested in getting on my mailing list or getting in touch with me for a personal reading, or to find out more information about more videos that I'm producing, as well as personal training that I'm developing, please contact me through my website, decisionpointiching.com. Otherwise, please keep an eye on my channel for more videos devoted to the I Ching, because I like to bring its wisdom to the fore. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. Bye-bye.